Average at Best Cornhole, we're back at it. We got some new BG bags, Kingslayer, and we're going to compare that with the Merc L. BG's newest bag, the Kingslayer. Now, there was a lot of noise on social media about this bag when it came out, and it was claimed that it was just like another set of bags, and we're here to tell you it's not.
Yeah.
We have an L version and an R version of that other series, and yes, they have the same material, but the fill's a little bit different. Kingslayer's a little bit larger, and it's actually kind of in the middle flop of those two bags. So we just wanted to put that out there. We don't like comparing bags, but that bag, the other series bag, has all its own positivities, and so does this one.
All right, speeds on these, and I'll just start with the Kingslayer. We have an 8 on the fast side and a 5 to 5.5 on the slow side, and the Merc L is rated at a 9.
9 on the fast.
3.4 on the slow side. Definitely don't agree with that. So we were a little surprised with this Merc L because it never played anywhere near even a 4. I mean, this felt like an easy 5 to me, right from the get-go. And we played it quite a bit, really trying to, break in that slow side, looking for him to slow down to a potential 3-4, but we just haven't seen it. So I don't know if it's something with the colorway,
or the size of the bag, or
yeah, but there's...
I also don't know. I mean, I'm not upset about that at all. I don't think I'd want a 3-speed bag.
Right.
But I have played fully broken in Mercenaries, and they were slower than that. So I'm starting to think maybe it's the color, or if they add something to it, or maybe it's the large floppiness of it or whatever.
Yeah. The Kingslayer, we agree on that fast side. Again, we've been reviewing a lot of that material, and it's pretty consistent, across the board. The fast side, to us, it's faster. I would rate that an 8.5 or even a 9 because that fast side moved very well for me.
So we're moving on to materials, and the Kingslayers, they do have that popular clone hybrid. We call it clone hybrid, which was the same as the Guardian, the Wolverines, the Darts. There's something different about this hybrid material, and especially before I broke these bags in, it felt thick, like really thick. It broke in nice. I enjoy it. I'm not complaining. So I believe there is a thick liner in there because I've never had that hybrid material feel like that brand new.
Yeah, even after break-in now, you can just feel it. That material is one of my gamers, and the bag that I have with it, it feels way softer, thinner. So they've definitely done something a little bit different with that, and we like it.
Yeah, it's working. Whatever they did, we're not complaining about it. Just pointed out that that's one of the differences with this bag compared to other bags with similar materials to it.
Yep. And Merc L here, we just have your tried and true what we call the OG carpet here, and that's about it with that, right?
Right, it does. It plays a little bit faster though. We still don't understand. It is the little bit faster of the two because there is 2 OG carpets, and like the original Pro Advantage ones that are super slow ones. But we never really saw those bags slow down too much. They played slower, but it was never too slow.
Never a 3 or a 4.
So moving on to template. Now, both templates are kind of like a large to extra large template, more large. Again, with whatever they got on this, this material stretches pretty big. And we've been playing the heck out of these bags ever since we got them because we liked them so much. And they don't seem to be stretching as much. So, again, that's why we think there's a good performance liner in there, helping it from stretch out. And then the Merc L's, also pretty large to extra large. Thin bags. They're both pretty thin bags.
They are, yeah. Fill flop on these. To me, both are what I would call a floppy bag. Not crazy floppy, but they're more on the floppy side. The Merc L's we know has the L fill blend in it, and from our understanding, the Kingslayers also have that L fill blend in it. Now, the Merc L's weighed pretty consistent with the Wizard L's that we had weighed, and the Kingslayers came in just a smidge heavier. Not a lot, but enough to show up on the scale. Bagmanship on these, and it's BG, so it's one of the biggest names. They probably make more bags than any other company. The bagmanship's been great. No complaints whatsoever. Nothing's we haven't had any really material failures with either one of these. A few small things we can nitpick. You'll have a little. Your closing seam tie off there that sticks out doesn't affect the bag whatsoever.
We just like pointing out.
Yeah, just they're so good. We got to find something to nitpick, right?
Break-in method on these, we opted for a vinegar soak on them. Like I said before, that thick liner on the Kingslayer, I really felt like it needed something, and it did. It felt great as soon as I broke them in. And then the Merc L's, I was super surprised at how good they felt brand new out of the package. But with experience, I know it takes a lot to get that material broke down. So I still use the vinegar on them anyways.
All right, forgiveness on these, and the Kingslayer gets the nod between the two, right? That bag was extremely forgiving, in my opinion. You're just gonna love the way that bag lands on the board, and you're gonna get some kicks here and there because it does have its an active fill in it, and these bags are meant for top players. They're meant to be manipulated and do all the shots with. So if you're off, yeah, you're gonna get a little unforgiveness, but overall, like if you're just trying to slide in the hole, I mean, they're fantastic. And the Merc L's, with the OG carpet, normally we don't consider that a forgiving carpet, right?
No, I too was surprised at how forgiving each one of these bags are, but yet active. But we might be biased because we did like both of them quite a bit, but probably liked them because they were forgiving and still active. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, for this carpet variant, the hybrid variant on the Merc L's, it's the most forgiving I've played of it. It's probably one of the more floppy ones. In that sometimes I see them bags and they're a little bit fuller with that material, but they did a great job.
On a whole bodiness, Kingslayer is extremely hole friendly. Something about the size, the flop, the fill in it, they were just drippy. You got them near, they were falling. The Merc L's, not as much, but it is a slower carpet bag. I don't think you're ever going to have one hanging and then sit there and stare at it for a while, and just see it slowly drip in. Now, it was definitely better on fast boards, and we'll get to it later. These bags really have a good place to use on fast boards, and maybe you will see that extra drip if you're playing on some really fast boards.
Collectability time on these bags, and the Kingslayers, they collected well. The one issue that I kind of did see is sometimes you may have, the way it's laying, some of the beads may be on one side where you just, they're floppy enough where you may just have a little bit of material. So you could miss if you don't really square that bag up versus a fuller bag may still grab and collect. But if you hit your spot, and you could even be off just a little bit, and they collected very well.
Yeah, I agree. Merc L's collected pretty darn well.
They did,
especially if you're on target. I don't think you're missing any straight-on collects, because of the bag doing some funky stuff. Maybe a little bit of bounce, but it still didn't seem like there was too much bounce that it would go over.
Right. Capable shots on these, and for most of us normal folks, they're really just going to be, right off the rip hole runners, right? I mean, the Merc L, it's slower, so you can definitely play that dirty game with it. And both bags can cut. I was actually cutting the Merc L better than the Kingslayer. It's the way it fell on the board. It just seemed to, maybe that's that slower carpet finally showing itself for us, where it would just bite a little bit harder. Now the Kingslayers, I was still able to cut those without much issue, just not quite as strong as the Merc L's.
Yeah, the Kingslayers and even the Merc L's, I think you'd have to be really experienced to roll those bags or do something. Kingslayers, also another great thing about them is they bunched up. They fit in tiny spaces. For a big bag like that, it was odd how you could just, get them to squeeze in between stuff.
Yeah, that's probably, a benefit you get where we said it's not quite as collectible. What kind of hurts it in the collecting area makes up for it is, it's one of them bags that you can sneak in them skinny spots, split two bags with it. If you just got a tight window, you're going to run that bag in there.
Yeah, they're both dirty style games for us, easy to lay blockers, easy to get around your blocker or squeeze around it, however you want to do it.
Right.
Great bags.
All right, company information. It's BG. You know where to find them. I'd imagine that you've been on their website plenty of times, but it's just bgcornhole.com. They have the Facebook groups. That's at BG Cornhole. They're all over the place. If you haven't seen them and you're getting into cornhole, you're going to see them and you're going to find them.
Yeah, talking about designs, BG, they're known for some cool designs, especially, their big logo print designs, which we're starting to come around to, really like that, and then you add stuff into it, and it's cool. But then they also have crazy designs, like this is Mad Teddy or something, I think they call it. He comes around every year, with some sort of different design. The Merc L's, they're pretty readily available on the website with, all their common designs. Kingslayers, they're still kind of slowly rolling those out. We're going to briefly talk about cost and keep an eye out for sales and discounts and stuff going on, because BG was priced pretty high.
Yeah.
I think that, once the market changed a little bit, they've been dropping their prices. They've dropped price on all their bags.
Yeah.
But now they're having special releases and stuff where they're actually really, really fairly priced.
Yeah.
And then also, if you don't know this, you buy a set of bags and they send you an email to review it. Go on the website, review it. Take a quick picture of that bag, and then they send you like a $10 off coupon also after that. Our overall thoughts, and fortunately, I feel like I'm turned into a BG fanboy. It is so hard not to. I mean, they control the cornhole game, but when you throw all these different bags we do, and then they come out with stuff like this, and you just enjoy the heck out of that bag. I mean, it's hard not to like their bags. These Kingslayers are great. They're top 3 favorite bag all time for me. I'm actually actively throwing them when I go to switches and stuff.
The Merc L's, I'm going to say that these things surprise me. Because when you told me, Craig got these ones, he's like, hey, I got the Mercs to match with the Kingslayer. I was just kind of like, Mercs, the OG carpet, I've seen it a million times. But wow, was I taken back when I threw these for the first time. They had a better hand feel than I was expecting, a little bit of flop.
And they're sticking around in my game bag too.
Yeah.
For the instant that I have like super fast boards. I got those Merc L's now because they feel pretty similar to Kingslayers or Wizard L's.
Yeah, they do.
All the top bags from BG. As soon as they come out with those Valkyrie L's, that's going to be another game changer.
Yep.
So we recommend these bags?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to be a fanboy to one company, but I enjoy the heck out of these Kingslayers, and I definitely recommend you pick yourself up a set.
Yeah, I know there's a lot, it seems to be a lot of, kind of the community wants to, push back against BG, just kind of how big they're getting and how much, they, I don't want to say own, but how ingrained they are in the, professional cornhole world. That's not going to deter us, right? We're looking for the bags that are going to help us be better players. And these two are like kind of the perfect combination, right? Because like you said, they feel well together. They have very comparable hand feel. So if you're going right now, where we're playing our switches and stuff, we have one set of boards that are just lightning compared to the rest of them. And having this, for those boards, and then being able to play the Kingslayers when all the other sets of board, it's the perfect combination. So I recommend both of these in your bag. As always, we're just going to say, hey, if you're going to be average at something, be average at cornhole, do it with Kingslayers.